Welcome everyone to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Sally Wantz and it's a glorious day, so welcome. As we begin our service, and as we were just talking about it a minute ago with those that are here, we want to acknowledge that we stand, we reside, we are here on the land of the first people of Florence, the indigenous people, the Saisla Indians. And we are so grateful for their stewardship of the land, and we honor what they have brought to us, and we hope we do well by what we are doing here. So we honor the Saisla Indians, the past, the present, and the future. Blessed be. So two of you is going to come forward. We're going to sing our opening song, which is what? Spirit of Life.
Spirit of Life.
So anybody want to come up here and get on the camera and sing with us? By all means.
And by what you just said, Sally,
Yes.
I always enjoy hearing about the Native Americans who were here first and the respect that we give them with spirit. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice, roots hold me close, wings set me free, Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you, Tuvia. Okay. So we have a few announcements. First, I want to make sure everybody here has silenced your cell phone, Sally. Yes. And we're all masked up, so we're being respectful in that regard, unless you're up here at the podium. So today we have Tuvia with us, we have Catherine Hemmons, we have Xana Robertson, and we have Jay Getler on our ever-popular camera. Thank you all for being here today. Yeah, thank you. So we can deliver another fabulous Sunday worship service and allow everyone else to enjoy this particular recording with a cup of coffee. So today is September 26th. We're actually recording this on the 24th. But today, the 26th, we invite you to join Judy Plummery at 11:15 for our weekly dialogue circle. Yes, it's virtual. Can't do much more than that for right now. But last week, we had a blast. Don't know how many there were, but we had a great conversation with Donna Smith. It lasted a full hour. It was a wonderful time. So we invite you to join us for our dialogue circle today, Sunday, September 26th at 11:15. Judy Plummery is our host, and we hope our guest speaker, Reverend Skochko, will join us. You can find that invitation and the links to all of that on the e-blast you received this morning, okay? And also, please remember, please, we have a website, florenceUUF.com, and in there is a calendar, and in that calendar lists all the things we're doing. So if you want to know about the dialogue circle, go to the calendar, click on the dialogue circle, and it'll open up with all kinds of information, okay? So we hope to see you. Next weekend, on October 1st, we're going to have our last in the series of cabarets. I know, isn't this exciting? It's going to be with our new friend, David Daniel, and he plays and sings and does a lot of his own recordings or his own songwriting, but he sings a lot of the music from the 50s and 60s and probably 70s. So all of us old people can really enjoy that. So be here at FOOF on Friday, October 1st at 4:30. Bring a chair, bring a beverage, bring some food, bring your enjoyment, have fun. It's going to start at 4:30, so we're calling it a happy hour cabaret October 1st. We hope to see you all. We'll be in the backyard and looking forward to it. So we're going to light our chalice, and I invite Catherine to come forward as she lights the flame. There we go. Oh boy, we just are always challenged with this, aren't we? Try this one. Okay, I don't know, maybe that was just out of gas. It's a small one. Yes. Yes, don't you wish you were here with us today? Because if you were, you'd all be laughing and having a good time. So laugh amongst yourselves at home. Grab a cup of coffee. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, we light a chalice when we come together to worship. You can light a chalice at home if you have one, and if you don't, please know that you are still included in the flame we light together here today. Our chalice words come from Muslim poet Rumi. Don't worry about saving these songs, and if none of our instruments breaks, it doesn't matter. And if one of our instruments breaks, it doesn't matter. We have fallen into the place where music, I'm going to start over. This is from Rumi. You got to bear with me today. Don't worry about saving these songs. And if one of our instruments breaks, it doesn't matter. We have fallen into the place where everything is music. The strumming of the flute, the notes rise into the atmosphere, and even if the whole world's harp should burn up, there will still be hidden instruments playing. So the candle flickers and goes. We have a piece of flint and a spark. Blessings. Catherine, I know we have some joys and concerns, so come on up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here we are again for joys and concerns. Just listening to this, just showing up for this recording is your commitment to this community and each other. We may know or say that we understand that we were all one and that a sense of community resides in us first, but each time we make the effort to show up for each other, we are living that concept. We are expressing God, if you want to call it that, through our higher natures. For instance, Helen Hartman invites me over to see her garden and to pick some vegetables. It felt so normal, so pre-COVID, though we did mask up, but simple and kind. The labyrinth walk with Rosemary on the equinox gives a feeling of continuity, that I am showing my respect to the larger forces that are moving the planets and the stars. Thank you, Rosemary. That is my joy. And thank you, Helen. That's another joy. Sitting at my meditation altar at home, doing prayer treatments for those in need, and actually for all of you, reminds me to keep showing up any way I can. And all of you have your own ways, and I am grateful for that. So my first concern is for Marcia and Colin, sending them the purest intentions during this time. They do not want to be contacted. This is a private journey for them. Hospice is in place, and we love you. We just love you. And everyone, keep that sentiment of love for them in your hearts.
Amen.
Who else?
Oh, I did one for Marcia, not one for Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Joys and concerns?
Joys and concerns. Come on up here.
Yes, joys
Come
and
on up here.
concerns.
I was kind of waiting for Sally. I thought she had the mic in hand to do that. I'm going to put Michelle in here for Marsha Phillips. I know called me the other day, and she's going through a lot of pain right now with their chemotherapy and stuff like that. And I was able to fix her garage door rather simply. But anyway, it's nice to be able to talk to her for a few minutes. So I put a show in for her. The joy that I've got is I heard through the rumor mill. Okay, I'm on the renovation committee, but that means nothing. Okay, but I hear through the rumor mill that we're getting closer to actually getting our permits given to us and stuff like that. We're going through the process, getting them submitted. So take this as no real information, just as a hope. The other thing that I've been working with is I'm a bicyclist, and one of the things I'm trying to do is design a chalice for the front of our building that could be used as a bicycle rack. So, and I'm working with the neighbors over here, the art metal fabricators, to kind of with that idea. And we'll see where this idea goes, but it's a real joy for me to be working on it. Thank you.
Great, great.
Maybe we can get them, maybe we can get these neighbors to help us build a real chalice for up front here. With the opening with oil we can put in and have a real pretty chalice flame.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Put a shell in for that.
Great.
Another great idea.
That's
Yes.
that's been on my wish list for a long time. As much as I love our candle, a real chalice with a real flame and oil would be really cool.
That would
So,
be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I have a joy.
Okay.
Okay. So, not feeling guilty at all, no, but I'm going on vacation.
Yay!
So I'll see you in a week.
All right, thank you. I will end with this African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so it is.
Nice.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Wow. So Reverend Sarah Skochko sent us all kinds of good stuff for her service today. And one of them is the call to worship. And I'm inviting Xana to come forward to read our call to worship.
Thank you, Sally. There's a song titled Love Knocks, and these are the simple words. Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. We come together today to worship, to listen for that knock, and feel again the urge to set things right, whether in our world or deep within ourselves. Our call to worship from Reverend Jessica Purple Rodella has some ideas. Listen. Listen to the silence. Listen to the wind. Listen to the stars. Hear trees. Dance. Dance to the beat of your neighbor's heart. Dance to the rhythm of your childhood dreams. Sing. Sing and hum a wordless song to the tune of your rushing blood. And pray. Pray with a fever that makes you sweat through February chill. Pray with a fervor that gives you chills in July. Shout your prayer like a howl. Howl till the sound of your soul touches clouds and haunts the moon. Come, let us howl our hallelujahs. Come, let us pray and sing and celebrate. Come, let us worship together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those words are powerful. They remind me of the interview that was done on 2020, and it was an hour-long interview with Amanda Gorman. Did you see it? The inauguration poet? Oh my God, she just can weave a sentence and take you on a journey in 5 words. That's what this reminded me of. It's just beautifully written and beautifully presented. Thank you, Xana. Really appreciate that. So the words that Xana has shared, keep them in your mind as you enjoy a wonderful musical interlude from Jeff Lovejoy. We'll play it for you in just a moment. It's called Space Among the Stars. After that, we are fortunate to have Reverend Sarah Skochko with us again. For those of you who don't remember, Sarah is a 2020 graduate of Meadville Lombard Theological School, has an MFA in poetry from the University of Oregon, go Ducks, A native of South Jersey, Sarah currently lives in Austin, Texas. She has pre-recorded and sent her sermon to us today, and it's titled, "Have a Happy Apocalypse."
Saw an article recently speculating that the historical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah may actually have been destroyed by a meteorite. This natural disaster theory comes up every so often, and whenever it does, I like to remind people that in the Bible, the sin of Sodom, so to speak, is not what the modern interpretations say it is. Rather, the sin of Sodom was income inequality and artificial food scarcity. The city had a fullness of bread, as is written, but even still, it did not strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. And so, the rich and the greedy were destroyed. Of course, the Bible is full of natural disasters, plagues, and misfortunes because the world is also full of those things. It's interesting how the people of the Bible attempted to make sense of things in their own time and in their own way. We're here on Earth, in part, to try to find meaning in it all. And that especially includes making meaning in the face of apocalypse. Not just the big apocalypse, the capital A apocalypse, the one we typically think of with the end of the world and fire raining down and the earth swallowing whole cities and a flaming wheel made out of eyeballs for some reason. No, I mean the kind of everyday, ordinary apocalypses. The ones that aren't the end of the world, but it might feel like it, just for you. The end of the world as you knew it before. The figurative meteorite that hits your city, or maybe just your house. When, for you, nothing looks the same anymore. The original meaning of apocalypse in Greek is not one of destruction. No, it's more like uncovering. The uncovering of what was previously unseen or unknown, sometimes involving destruction, sure, but not necessarily. New Testament scholar Bart Ehrman explains apocalypse as, quote, a vision of heavenly secrets that make sense of earthly realities. Over this past year and a half, we have, in fact, lived through a great uncovering of sorts, an uncovering of the breadth of injustice in America and the harrowing and inhumane conditions under which so many people live, an uncovering of the immediate truth of the climate crisis, of the dire state of our political landscape and the shortcomings of capitalism. And this is the great lesson of apocalypse. It doesn't necessarily entail destruction or the undoing of everything we know. Sometimes what is uncovered or revealed to us in the moment of apocalypse makes us realize that something has to change. The labor shortage right now, for instance, in which many Americans have refused to go back to work under conditions that were unsafe, unfair, inhumane, and not able to sustain a human life. That represents a great uncovering. But if it heralds destruction, it's the destruction of something that needs to be destroyed. Of course, not all apocalypses are that big. Not all of them are society-wide. I think we go through small apocalypses in our own lives with regularity. I remember when Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, when that book came out, a number of my friends were deeply shaken by its implications. Simply asking whether each of their possessions brought them joy seemed to permanently change the way that they interacted with the objects around them. That book alone inspired, I think, countless small personal apocalypses of people taking stock of their lives and what mattered to them because of what it uncovered. Like most people, I'm intrigued by stories of unexpected seismic shifts in people's lives. I think because all of us know on some level that everything could change for any of us in a moment for any number of reasons. A book by Marie Kondo, or a pandemic, a divorce, the fall of the Roman Empire, for instance. Isn't everyone intrigued by the idea of the fall of Rome, writes Canadian political scientist Thomas Homer Dixon. As a boy, he says, I was fascinated by it. I marveled at Rome's feats of conquest and engineering. They were the stuff of wonder. But what really drew me to the story, Dixon writes, was what it revealed about our human frailty. There was something both spectacular and eerie about the civilization that dominated so much of the world and then almost completely disappeared. At the very least, Dixon says, Rome's story reveals that civilizations, including our own, can change catastrophically. That quote is from the prologue of Dixon's 2006 book, The Upside of Down: Catastrophe, Creativity, and the Renewal of Civilization. Written 15 years ago, the book may have seemed, at the time, a touch melodramatic. If you listened to Dixon in 2006, you would assume that the sky was going to crumble at any moment. According to Dixon, societies become more and more rigid and inflexible over time as stresses build up beneath the surface, until finally, like anything under enough pressure, the society cracks. So what stresses might be building up under society? Well, Dixon figured there were 5 big ones. Naturally, climate and environmental stress, but also population stress. Not that there are too many people, but that resources have not been spread out equitably among them, like in Sodom and Gomorrah. Also, energy stress, both from the scarcity of oil and stresses to an insufficiently resilient energy grid, economic stress from notably the ever-widening gap between the rich and poor. In 2021, that reads like a list of trending topics in the news. When you look at your phone in the morning, if you wake up and look at your phone right away, you're likely to see like 3 out of 5 within the first 5 minutes of waking up. Dixon wrote that like an earthquake, at some point, these pressures would release their accumulated energy with catastrophic effect, creating shock waves that pulverize our habitual and often rigid ways of doing things. Now, I'm not warning you all that Dixon's apocalypse might happen and we should all have anxiety. Some of us already had anxiety. What I'm telling you is it already happened, and it's still happening. The rigid ways we had of doing things are coming undone and being remade. I mean, look at how we're having church right now. But Thomas Homer Dixon didn't just write an eerily prescient book about exactly how and when the sky would fall. He wrote a book about how to put it back together. He described the process of what he calls catagenesis. That is, when complex systems undergo too much stress, they fall apart. But predictably, he argues, almost faithfully, they undergo reorganization and renewal. The pieces never stay scattered for long. Yes, the Roman Empire collapsed, but people are still living in Italy and France and Spain, aren't they? They're still traveling the same roads and living in some of the same buildings. But new cultures emerged from the rubble, distinct from one another and beautiful, flourishing in the creative potential of having the old ways dashed to pieces. If you enjoy both a good crusty French baguette as well as Spanish tapas, you can appreciate that the destructive potential of one civilization's apocalypse can become the creative potential of so much more. And when things feel impossibly stuck, like our Congress in Washington, for instance, remember what Dixon said about the cycle. Anything under enough stress will become so rigid that it barely functions just before it breaks into pieces. And sometimes that might be exactly what it needs, because what follows will be reorganization and renewal. In fact, Dixon argues, the greatest potential human societies have for doing better and creating something unexpected and new is in the immediate aftermath of collapse, when the rigid old structures no longer limit the scope of our imagination. I'm not saying that we should spin the pandemic into something positive. This has been, frankly, awful. I'm also not saying that the climate crisis could ultimately turn out to be a good thing after all. It's also awful. What I am saying is that even amidst collapse, we can be assured of some things, even still, beauty and goodness on this earth. And that when we are most afraid that all will be lost, we must remember that something new is still to come. The future is forever reinventing itself. And in the despair of the moment, it's easy to lose sight of that. When the question is, what happens next? And we don't know. And like the frightened people in the Bible after their city was reduced to rubble, the answer is, and always will be, assuredly, we don't know, but something will come next. Something, and that something will contain the same spark of the divine, that same through line of meaning in the universe as everything else. The great uncovering, the apocalypses of our time might be like having a tower built out of Legos dashed on the floor. For a time, yes, there's chaos, and it seems like everything's in pieces, and you really need to watch where you step. But for the first time, in a very long time, all of those pieces can be rearranged. What we have to work with is uncovered. At the same time, it is unbound. And we have the occasion to ask of each one, of each piece, does this spark joy? Does this serve us any longer? Will we keep this? Let us go forth into what is unknown, accompanied by our faith, if nothing else, in the spark itself. Amen, and blessed be.
Thank you once again, Sarah, for your spirited message. We hope you'll join us for our dialogue circle today at 11:15. Judy Plummery is our host. If you can be there, that would be great. If not, we'll just, I don't know, talk about you. How's that? What a deal. So we come together for our offering, And I've invited two of you to share just a little bit more about our community partner, which is the Florence Emergency Cold Weather Shelter. Two of you, what have you got to share today?
The days are starting to get shorter, and the weather is starting to get cooler. And I remember picking up Catherine when it started to rain a while back in the winter, and she couldn't wait to get out of the cold, and I drove her to where she needed to go. But just imagine what it would be like. It starts to rain, it's getting cold, and you have no place to go. And then you find a little post with a flag on it. And you know that if you wait there, somebody's going to pick you up and bring you to a small, cozy little place where you can sleep warm and dry, have a delicious hot dinner, and a breakfast the next morning. This is what the cold weather shelter is doing for those who most need it. So with compassion, think, wouldn't it be nice to help out someone who has no place to go? And that's what the cold weather shelter is all about.
Yes.
And I know that the folks at that shelter area, the folks that serve on the board, they're also looking for volunteers. So if you're of a mind and you want to help pick people up and take them to the shelter, you know, that would be great. If you want to help prepare meals, if you want the experience of actually staying in the administrative shelter the night that people are there, they need people that can stay the night and monitor what's going on. So plenty of opportunities to give of your time and your talent, okay? As well as your treasure. So if you'd like to make a donation to the cold weather shelter, you can do so. You can do that by visiting our website, and you can hit the donate button and let us know how much you'd like to donate to the shelter. And also how much you'd like to donate to FOOF. You know, I'm thinking about what Catherine said about the time that we give and what really motivates us and what gives us purpose. I love coming here, whether it's a Friday taping or a Sunday. I really enjoy coming here and giving of myself unapologetically. I make mistakes. I have fun doing it. So it's my gift to you. So I'm asking you, what is your gift to us? What can you bring to us? You can bring your time, your talent, and your treasure. And if you'd like to donate to this particular fellowship, and I hope you do, you can send us a check, payable to FOOF, mail it to P.O. Box 2502, Florence, 97439, or again, click on our donate button on the website. And you can put a little memo there as to how much you'd like to go to our community partner, how much you'd like to go to FOOF. And if you want to donate to the We Care program, we're taking donations for them, and we're buying items, putting them in baskets, and delivering the baskets to our healthcare workers around the city, so you can be a part of that as well. Darlene and Judy and the Indivisible group and the Power of 8 group, they've all got this wonderful idea in mind, and it's really spreading like wildfire. So as we go forward, with you at home and us here, I'm going to ask that you repeat after me as we think about our offering. Divine love through me.
Divine love through me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
All that I give.
All that I give.
And all that I receive.
And all that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
So I invite, you want to come back and extinguish the chalice? It's a little easier to do than lighting it. So don't be afraid, truly. As we extinguish our chalice today, our closing words are adapted from Robert Walsh, who writes, "When the great plates slip and the earth shivers, and the flaw is seen to lie in where you trusted most, look not to more solidity, to weighty slabs of concrete poured, or strength, or cantilevered beam to save the fractured order. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's often torn. but always healing. The shifting plates, the restive earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. I love it. So Tubi is going to lead us in our peace song, and I remind you that we've got the dialogue circle at 11:15. I know I keep saying it a lot, but we want to invite you to come and be a part of that dialogue circle. And yes, Catherine and Zan, come on forward, we're going to sing. And also, October 1st, be here for our concert, 4:30. It's called Happy Hour Cabaret. Wonderful music, great friendship, outside, out back. It was fun when we had Mark Levy, or is it Levy? Levy. Mark Levy. I call him Levy. He's not heavy, he's my Levy. So I'm going to stop now, and Tuvi's going to lead us in our peace song.